What is up, my people, and welcome to Studio de Jefe for your daily dose of Cowboys content. I got you covered here. Shout out to everybody who left in the comments or tweeted me at JC1053 with questions for the countdown to camp here to get you ready for training camp. This first question is from Kevin Modisette. He said, what players do you think will take the biggest jump in development this season? So I'm going to go with guys who aren't rookies. Rookies are going to develop as the season goes along, and I think that'll be an important part of the Cowboys defense is how guys like Parsons, Odigizua, Kelvin Joseph, Nashawn Wright, Chauncey Golston, Jabril Cox, Quentin Bohanna, blah, 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 lots of names, right? How those guys progress will be important. But for rookies, you're going to have bumps in the road. The guys who I think are the two natural answers to who's going to make the biggest jump, one is Travon Diggs, your starting right cornerback going into his second season. His rookie year, I think a lot of people are really high on. I'm high on the potential of what we saw in his rookie season. A couple of interesting things about Travon Diggs' rookie season. One, he was a much better player in zone than he was in man. So, can you see a guy who improves at the NFL level in man coverage, and how much do they cater to his strengths? Pretty natural that Travon Diggs is going to be a candidate to make the biggest jump this year. The other one, Tyler Beatish. Your new starting center, no competition for him. Connor McGovern might be that swing interior guy. Joe Looney is not around, so Tyler Beatish is going to be your starting center. When you listen to the other offensive linemen talk about him, I believe it was Tyron Smith who was like, man, you'd think he's in his fourth year. These are just words, but they're good words to hear. Tyler Beatish, if he can take a decent little jump and be a league average or better center, then your offensive line, injuries pending, is going to be in great shape. So I think it's a two-man race for the biggest jump, although I'm interested to see if I'm missing any names according to you guys in the comments at youtube.com/Jeff Kavanaugh. Evan Bennett, biggest position group of concern going into 2021. How narrow do I have to be? Because if I can just say secondary, I would say secondary is a concern. DeMonte KZ coming off of an Achilles, making essentially no money. There was no market for him in the NFL. The Cowboys got him for essentially not league minimum, but not too terribly far off of league minimum. Anthony Brown and Jordan Lewis being starting corners in the league is not ideal, although if you could get a rookie to step up and take that left cornerback job, then you could have Brown and Lewis competing for the same job in the slot, which would have you better off. I worry about the secondary big time, because I want to like them. Like Anthony Brown, I liked him in the draft. I think I had him as like a third-round guy. Jordan Lewis, liked him when he was drafted, liked the dude. But the results they've gotten on the field as NFL players have not been up to NFL starter caliber. So I worry about the secondary. The defensive tackle group, I'm not sold on because I think you are relying on a lot of youngsters. I'm also a little bit wary because I've watched Cowboys free agency when they kind of go bottom of the barrel-ish and try to find guys who can just plug in the interior. It doesn't always work so great. Dontari Poe, ring a bell, anybody? So they got the bodies, but what I like to do to illustrate where the Cowboys are at defensive tackle is look around the division, right? In Washington, their starters are Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen. Whew, that's good. Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave in Philadelphia. In New York, it's Dexter Lawrence and, come on top of my head, Leonard Williams. Those are really good players. The Cowboys have interesting players that hopefully can all do a little bit, but nobody the caliber of any of those guys. I have hope for Oso Odigizua to develop into a good 3 technique. I have hope for Neville Gallimore to develop into a solid 3 technique. I have hope that Quentin Bohanna can be a run stopper, your 350-pounder in the 6th round. I have hope that Brent Urban can continue his career of being a good run stopper, but you're not good at defensive tackle. You're hoping you're okay. You're hoping you're okay in the secondary. Those things are what's going to, honestly, if it's not for injuries, what's going to make or break this Cowboys season, and what you want the goal to be is going to come down to, can you get good play along the defensive line and can you cover? And those are things that we shall see. Reeves, what's good, Jeff? Thanks again for the dope content. You and Vach are the truth. Oh, thank you. My question is, who is your favorite Cowboy of all time, and who is your favorite Lord of the Rings character of all time? My favorite Lord of the Rings character of all time, I mean, everybody, it's Gandalf. But if I can't pick Gandalf, I'd probably go Gimli, the dwarf. Gimli was a badass. Get the double-sided axe. Dwarves have incredible stamina, staying power, strength. I like Gimli. Plus, he's funny. My favorite Cowboy of all time might be boring, but I think it's Dez. His 4-year run, he was just so freaking unique. There was nobody that played wide receiver the exact same way that Dez Bryant played receiver, and I dig it. So I'll go Dez. Leave yours in the comments, youtube.com/Jeff Kavanaugh. Danny Phantom 24, what player do you think you'll end up loving more after watching Hard Knocks? Okay, one, I think for the world, it's going to be Micah Parsons. Because when he got drafted and we were interviewing him immediately after, and I forgot who asked the question, but basically like, describe your play style or what do you think are your strengths? And he said, see ball, hit ball, like the water boy. Like he compared himself to a fictional character played by Adam Sandler that was goofy. Parsons has personality. He's funny. He's a first-round pick. He's super talented. Obviously, you're going to get a ton of Dak and Zeke in Hard Knocks. I bet you'll get a bunch of Jalen Smith. The guy I hope we end up loving after Hard Knocks is Kelvin Joseph. Because so far, we haven't even gotten a training camp. And we're getting different reports about, it looked like Nashawn Wright might have been more ready for OTAs. It looked like you're starting to hear these little things. I just want to see him play football. This goes into like the position battles to watch. With Kelvin Joseph, even if it's true that at the OTAs the coaches were happier with Nashawn Wright or whatever, right? What happens when we get to training camp and when you're covering camp and you're able to be at practice like we'll be able to be at practice, you have to make a decision when they do their one-on-one period of what am I going to watch? And as a former receiver, I watch receivers and DBs more often than not, and somebody else can handle the offensive and defensive line. I'm sure Vach will have you covered on that. When they get there, for instance, I charted Amari Cooper. I don't remember if it was last year or the year before. He won every rep I charted for 6 days of one-on-one. So I was like, all right, let's just stop doing that. Amari Cooper's always going to win. Great route runners are going to win one-on-one, right? When Nashawn Wright and Kelvin Joseph, your second and your third round picks, when they start lining up against dudes like Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, and one-on-ones, my gut, based on watching these guys tape in college, is that Kelvin Joseph, that's where he's going to open the eyeballs. That's where the coaching staff is going to go, woo, there's our guy. Nashawn Wright being the big, long guy, that helps you in some ways. But in terms of your foot quickness and staying in man coverage with really good NFL wide receivers, I think he'll struggle there. And I think that's where Kelvin Joseph can make his push to say, hey, I should be a starter. It's going to come when he lines up one-on-one with good NFL starting wide receivers, and you see his ability. You see the foot quickness. You see the hip fluidity. You see the competitiveness. That's where Kelvin Joseph can get his shine on. And with Hard Knocks and the cameras all around, that's where you can get the fan base to fall in love with you. So the player I hope I end up loving more after watching Hard Knocks is Kelvin Joseph. And I tell you, just off of visiting with some of the guys that they drafted this year, they love to find rookie stories. I think cameras will love Chauncey Golston, the defensive end out of Iowa. I think there's a decent chance cameras will love Oso Digizua. Top of my head, those are my guys. I think Golston is a guy that cameras are going to like. Top Nottingham. If Zeke doesn't have a special bounce-back season, what's our exit strategy look like? Or do we just keep paying him? What, are you trying to get me to get people to not watch this? You know what I'm going to say about Zeke. He's an okay running back, and he makes a bunch of money. I hate it. Zeke's going to be here for at least 2 more years. So we're not going to worry about it. We're just going to enjoy the fact that he's putting out these videos, that the dude looks fit. He looks like he's getting ready this offseason. We're just going to enjoy it. TPD Davis. If Jabril Cox shows up in training camp and preseason, who's the odd man out? A secondary player or a linebacker? If you mean in terms of roster spots, Jabril Cox is going to make the roster. So it's not necessarily an odd man out. I mean, you think about the Cowboys linebacker core right now. Last year's starters, Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch, they make the team. Micah Parsons, he makes the team. Keanu Neal, he makes the team. Jabril Cox, he makes the team. Then it's down to, are you going to keep 6? Francis Bernard versus Luke Gifford. I'm not considering Jabril Cox as a safety until somebody tells me differently. To me, he's a very good coverage linebacker. He can be a tight end cover guy. He's a coverage linebacker until I'm told differently. But I guess if you're saying who doesn't get a roster spot because of Jabril Cox, I would say a linebacker. It's Francis Bernard. It's Luke Gifford. It's somebody like that. TG, biggest surprise player that won't make the roster. When I've done my 53-man rosters, my odd man out has been Tristan Hill, because it is tough to project which 10 defensive linemen are going to make this team because there's a lot of them. There's, let's see, 1, 2. There's 2 that are third-round picks. Third-round picks are making the team. You have Tank and Gregory. You have Brent Urban. Is Terrell Basham a guy that's going to make the team? Neville Gallimore's going to make the team. Does Quentin Bohanna make the team? There's a lot of names. Carlos Watkins. There's a whole bunch of names when you're trying to figure out which guys are going to be in and which guys are going to be out on the defensive line. So Tristan Hill has been my odd man out. That'll be my biggest surprise that won't make the roster. Maybe Simi Fehoko. I don't think there's anything guaranteed about him making the roster. Go Blue. Kevin King says, is Randy Gregory the next Charles Haley? No, stop it. I do think this is Randy Gregory's breakout year. I put in the call for double-digit sacks, but chill out. Randy Gregory is just a guy that's finally getting his shot to play because the NFL's archaic rules about mental health and weed are changing. Some guy, weaknesses on the roster and how the team could improve them before the season starts. Weaknesses on the roster are corner, safety, defensive tackle. And I don't think they're going to change that before the season starts because you do have a collection of names. You got a collection of dudes that you want to see go compete. You got a bunch of young guys you want to see. Can they take playing time away from veterans? So I don't think they're going to do anything about it, but corner, safety, D-tackle. Britt, does Israel Mukwamu have a shot to make the roster? He has a shot. KZ, Wilson, then what? Jaron Curse, Darian Thompson, Mukwamu, just a bunch of guys. But late round picks, they certainly aren't guaranteed to make a team, but he has a shot because you don't have proven commodities in the secondary with the Cowboys. So if you've got a defensive coordinator that likes you, you got a chance. Dave, who will be the backup quarterback? Garrett Gilbert. Danny, if you bet in Vegas on the Cowboys winning the Super Bowl, it's 22-1. How much would you bet? I used to bet every year $1,000, then only $500. I stopped doing it 4 years ago. Now I bet $0. It depends on your bank account. You can throw $10 at it, throw $20 at it, see about getting a nice little return there. Tyler, with the inexperience at corner, do we see Anthony Brown or Jay Lou as corner number 2 when the season starts, or do they hope one of the young guys, being Joseph or Wright, take that spot? The fan base is going to hope one of the young guys takes the spot. I am too, because I've seen Anthony Brown. I've seen Jordan Lewis, and those results are below average for the NFL. You want somebody to take that spot, but you don't want them to just throw a guy in there because he's a draft pick. The best player is going to play, I hope. So Anthony Brown, Jordan Lewis, Kelvin Joseph, Nashawn Wright, Reggie Robinson, whoever, go work it out. Go practice, go play, and go work it out. My hope is obviously that a rookie takes it because that gives you more hope. Dallas Cowboys general manager. Ideal depth chart for the safety position. Does a move need to be made? I don't know the ideal depth chart. KZ and Wilson is fine. I'd be interested in seeing Jordan Lewis as a free safety, but they've got what they're going to roll with. I don't feel good about it. I think the safety spot is a trouble spot. We'll just have to see. The real Ned, how many rookies will make the final cut and how many will start by the end of the season? Micah Parsons will make the team. Second round, Kelvin Joseph will make the team. Third round, Oso Odighizuwa, Chauncey Golston, Nashawn Wright. They will all make the team. Fourth round, Jabril Cox. He will make the team. After that, it starts getting more dicey. Simi Fehoko, I would say probably better than 50-50 he makes the team because of special teams. Quentin Bohanna, defensive tackle. I think it's better than 50-50 he makes the team because it seems like with McCarthy and Dan Quinn both at his pro day that they really like the guy and they see the role for the giant defensive tackle. So I'll say Bohanna makes the team. I'll say the Nebraska offensive lineman does not. I'll say Israel Mukwamu does not. And if I'm missing somebody, then this is me saying they won't make the team. That's the top of my head. If I got them all, good for me. If I missed a guy, I apologize. Camp battles to watch. Oh, yeah, Kelvin Joseph versus everyone. all the defensive tackles versus the interior offensive linemen, all of the edges who are trying to be the third defensive end, whether it's Bradley Anai or Dorrance Armstrong or Chauncey Golston, all these dudes that are scrapping to not only make a roster, but at defensive end, you're scrapping to play a bunch because there's not good proven depth behind Tank Lawrence and Randy Gregory, but maybe Micah Parsons will get some of those snaps. All right, leave in the comments at youtube.com/Jeff Kavanaugh what you want to hear about tomorrow. I would appreciate that. If you're listening on audio and not video, you can't see I have something on my face. I'm also not wearing pants. That's the beauty of having a video that's only from the tipples up. Answer all the questions in the comments, okay? Do that. And let me know what you want to hear about tomorrow. And remember, you have no idea what anybody's going through, so be cool to everybody. I love you, and I'm going to therapy now. Bye.